Alright, welcome to the route guide for tech in the Power of Juju any percent. Before we actually get started, there's one thing I'm going to mention. The version differences in consoles. You're going to want to use the GameCube version for speedrunning. The loading times are significantly faster. Not quite sure how much, but I think it saves at least 3 or 4 minutes per run from loading screens over the PlayStation 2 version. So just get the GameCube version. It's like $5 on Amazon or something. It's very, very worth it. But yeah, I guess now that that's out of the way, I can actually start. I didn't really want to be sitting on the main menu for that, because that would be awful. So first thing you want to do, make sure that your first save file is empty. You can have whatever you want in your second 2 save files, that's fine. But actually, right off the bat in the game, we're going to be making a save file, and it's good to have the first one empty, so that you can just get it selected immediately instead of having to select a different one, whatever. I'm going to have my splits on screen just for the sake of having them there. And in case you want to make your splits the same as mine, like if you don't know what to do for your splits, you can just use mine, that's totally fine. But yeah, I guess we'll get started. You start the timer right when you hit new adventure, so right now. And right off the bat there's a cutscene, so just spam A to skip it. And now, actually, right here, there's a more difficult strat I could talk about, but I'm not gonna talk about that right now. When you start running the game, like for the first few runs, you're probably gonna want to do a slower strat here, which is much easier. Just go through the tutorial like normal. There's actually a way to skip this part, but it requires a frame-perfect pause at the very first frame of the game, which is something that isn't exactly fun to reset for. Actually, right here, you're going to want to double jump, grab the platform like so, and then hold left, and you should clip right through that fence. It skips a cutscene. And now right here, when you go and walk on that ground, a cutscene's going to activate. But what you're actually going to want to do is jump here and then pause right as tack hits the ground. No earlier, no later. And when that happens, you should see that tack's feet are touching the ground right now, and I have the save option. If I were to unpause right now, the game would actually start playing a cutscene. But because I paused right when tack activated the cutscene, you can actually save the game. And I'm not sure what the time frame that this pause is, but it's pretty lenient. Well, it's not lenient, but it's like there's many frames. I don't know. Yeah, words. You can actually do this with the very first possible frame of the game. If you pause at the exact frame that the loading screen disappears, you can have this same menu come up, because normally when the game starts, a cutscene also plays. And basically with this trick, you just want to be able to save during a cutscene. I know I'm over-explaining this way too much. What you want to do is just make a save file here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. This first trick is very complicated to explain, and it happens so soon that it's not easy. But essentially, right when you start running the game, like for the first few runs you do, just do this. Just run over, pause right here when you touch the ground, and save, and then quit. And this actually puts tack in a state where the game considers him to still be in that cutscene, even though we actually have skipped the cutscene. And now you're just going to want to load this save file that you made. And this will actually put tack back at the beginning of the tutorial, but tack will be in a state where the game still thinks he's in that one cutscene over there. And so tack can actually now walk through walls, and through this wall is the end of the tutorial, so we're just going to walk right through the wall and skip the entire tutorial. I'm sorry if that didn't make any sense. It's kind of complicated to explain, and I'm pretty bad at explaining stuff. So just hopefully you can figure that out. So now we're actually going to make our way over to the first actual level. This is Tax Village. This is basically the hub world. Probably already know that if you're trying to speedrun this game. Actually, I should mention, what I'm doing here is a trick called triple jumping. Normally in this game, you can only double jump, obviously. And you can also, instead of just running, you can actually do a roll. A lot of people don't know that about this game. I didn't know it either. But if you hold the L button on the GameCube controller and you hit jump, you'll do a roll. And that's actually a good amount faster than just running is. Because running's kind of slow, rolling's a bit faster. But the thing about rolling is that it kind of locks you in place. So if I were to roll here, I can't turn at all, and I'll just hit this. So just straight up rolling usually isn't that good if you're trying to turn. So what you can actually do is immediately after you roll, you can actually jump out of it. And doing that is called triple jumping, because you kind of do a triple jump. Like 1, 2, 3. But doing that, it's actually not that much faster than just running. Like, it saves a very small amount of time. However, it does add up over the run, so it's a good thing to get used to. If you're just trying to run in a straight line, then just rolling is a good idea. But if you need to turn, do a triple jump, and yeah, it'll be fine. So anyways, what you want to do is run down here, and actually we're going to be going kind of out of order. Normally the game wants you to go down there, if you see that thing at the bottom right, it wants you to go to burial grounds, but we're actually going to go to a different level instead by jumping on this very thin seam along this tree. Normally if you stand anywhere else on this tree, you'll just slide right off. But if you stand on the very like meeting point of these polygons, you can actually jump up this tree. This is kind of hard to do, it'll probably take some practice, like right there I just slipped off. But if you practice it enough, this should be fairly simple to do. And you're going to jump up here, and then just kind of run along here. I'm probably not going to be showing off very good optimal movement in this guide, just because I'm trying to explain everything as I do it. So if you want to see like an example of what really good movement through an area looks like, oh, it's not that. Just go watch like the world record video or something. That should give you a better idea of what moving really fast through this game looks like. So anyways, just gonna go right over here, and this is actually where I... Whoops. That wasn't supposed to happen, but you're not supposed to get knocked off of there. But I guess that worked. Alright, I'm gonna need... Okay. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Just jump on that platform, and that's where I do my first split normally. And then run over here. There's actually a cutscene right here that activates, but if you roll, you'll roll through the cutscene and end up over here. It saves a little bit of time. Just triple jump over here and completely ignore that ram. It's totally fine. This is actually the first plant fight in the game. This one is actually one of the most difficult ones, and for a beginner I would recommend just fighting these normally, or just doing these like the normal intended way. But I guess I'll show off the faster way, just in case you want to know what it is. Just run up and try to get as close as possible, try to be as far away as possible while still being able to hit him. Just hit him down to about 1/3 of his health, and then jump away when he does that. And then he's going to taunt, run up and hit him. Whether or not the game actually lets you do that is kind of RNG dependent. I'm not really sure what causes it, but I'm pretty sure it's just random. And then just wait for the plant to taunt again, and jump over and hit him. Pretty simple. Then you're just gonna jump over here. In Dry Rock, all we're trying to do is get 3 plants and then leave, so it's fairly simple. Nothing too complicated. Now we're gonna go to the second plant. There's a cutscene here, just mash through it. Over here's the second plant. This one, again, is also a fairly difficult fight. The first two plants you fight are actually a lot harder, and it's because once you get them down to 2/3 health, they'll start swinging vines around, and that means that you can't run up and hit them, or else you'll get hit, and you'll get stun locked to death, so it's no fun. So you're forced to hit them. You're forced to bring them down to 1/3 of health, right there. And if the plant does that, that actually prevents you from getting the quick kill. So you just kind of have to sit here and wait for him to taunt. And if you get unlucky, you have to kill them in 3 cycles instead of 2. Which only loses, I think, 10 or 15 seconds. So it's not a big deal. I don't reset over it. You can if you want, but it's not a huge deal. These fights are pretty simple, though. Sometimes it's actually a small bit of RNG in this game. When the plants die, they can either have a short or a long death animation. The long one's only like 2 seconds longer than the short one, so it's not a big deal, but it's thankfully that's some of the only RNG in this game, or in this run. Then just run up here. Here's the 3rd plant in this area, and this one you can actually just kind of chill out here, because this plant and all the rest of the plants do not have vines that swing around. And during the second stage of the fight, the little vines on the side of the plants actually come and stick out more, so it's actually a lot easier to hit them without getting hit. So just stand here, hit them until they're at 1/3 of a health, run away, they'll start taunting, run back. Pretty simple. One thing I should mention, if you are mashing the attack button as fast as possible, attack actually does this like double swing thing, and it actually ends up being kind of slow. What you want to do is time your attacks so that you're only doing this single swing. If you can hear my pressing speed instead of mashing, this is actually a lot slower, and so you can actually do more damage if you just hit it like this. That's something I didn't cover in my last route guide, and some people were confused by that, so I should probably just mention it now. You're just gonna wanna... I should go back and explain that. Let me see, can I make it? Nope. Alright. Let me explain that, because that's kind of confusing too. So in this corner here, if you walk into it at a certain angle, you'll actually just walk right through the wall. Not sure why. So I'm just holding forward right now and just moving the camera a little bit until that happens. And you just clip straight through the wall and start swimming. So you're going to want to swim over in this direction. Be careful not to clip in bounds there. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it loses a bit of time. And you're just going to want to swim up to here and hit Y to warp back to the beginning here, and that's all of Dry Rock. And that's where I split there. And now we're actually going to go back to Burial Grounds. So just be careful about these nurbles here. There's a lot of them right here. Do your best to dodge them. Sometimes it's not very easy. Just gonna want to jump up over here. Now we're actually gonna take kind of a shortcut back to Burial Grounds. You can actually go in this little cave area. Step on this button to open the door. Oops, don't fall down there. And now we're gonna go to Burial Grounds. So the beginning of Burial Grounds actually has a pretty difficult strat called the Golden Teeth Skip. Normally during this level, you're supposed to go around and collect 4 of these golden teeth. Flora points to the first one over there, and then you have to put them in those statues, and that opens that door over there. But if you run over here, and do a very precise timing of a triple jump. You essentially want to do the maximum possible distance. If you wait too long to jump after you roll, then you can't jump anymore and you just finish out the roll. But if you like time this out to get it the maximum distance possible, like it's a timing that's pretty tricky and you just have to practice it. Like this is a very difficult trick, but it saves 4 or 5 minutes, so it's definitely worth it. So you're just gonna want to line up at the like furthest corner of this ledge over here. You're gonna want to grab like right above me there. So just line up tack right there and just do like the maximum possible distance of a triple jump. If you don't make it, whatever, just try again. It's a pretty difficult thing to do. Even I have trouble with it sometimes. There you go. So you're just gonna grab onto the corner of it like that, pull yourself up, and you skipped like 5 minutes. So now instead of going and getting the staff like we're supposed to, we're actually gonna kill a few plants first, just because they're along the way. Right here there's a platform filled with nurgles. I usually try to run and jump at this very edge here, because normally they aren't right there. So you can just kind of sneak past them, but like I said, if you want to see optimal play, go and watch like a world record or something. So again, you can just wait for that, and then start hitting him to there about a third of a health left. One thing I should mention, you can't actually kill the plants by just hitting them like that. You have to wait until they taunt and then hit them. For some reason they just won't die unless you do that, so the way that I'm showing is actually the fastest possible method, even though it might not look like it. Now we're gonna run over here, get the second plant. You may as well run around and collect feathers or something while you're waiting. If you didn't know, there is actually a audio cue for when the plants are going to taunt, assuming you're doing it correctly. If you screw up the timing on something and you hit the plant late, then it'll be off of the audio cue. But it's kind of hard to explain what the audio cue is because it's based on like music stuff. You can tell by the part in the song that it's at.
That looks like one of those plants that Jabba wants.
Like there's a certain part where the song like steps up in intensity, and that's when the plant first starts taunting. It's hard to explain, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Right here we're actually going to run backwards into this cutscene. And now this is actually the longest cutscene in the run, and we go out of our way to activate it, but the only reason we do this is because it gives us the staff, which is very important for the run. So you just get to sit through this nice cutscene of the Mummy King just coughing.
Cough drop?
It's a high quality cutscene.
That happens all the time. Part of being mummified. You get these dust balls in your throat, they feel like little rocks.
Not much to talk about really in this one.
You're the great warrior of the Poopanunu people's prophecy. Come to pick up the staff of your ancestors? Well, you don't look so great to me.
Me? Oh, I'm not the great warrior.
Yeah, there's actually kind of 2 cutscenes right in this little area,
She said,
and added up together I think they're like 2.5 minutes.
"You can take the staff
So,
from me."
yeah,
Have it.
Whoa.
it's something.
And that's my fighting arm. What a drag. Take the staff, great.
Sadly, watching this cutscene, well, I guess not sadly, but
And don't ever touch me.
even though these 2 cutscenes take about 2.5 minutes, it's still faster than skipping the staff. You technically can beat the game without the staff, but it takes a lot more time than just watching this cutscene.
Hey, you know what? I bet you can also use this thing to pole vault yourself up onto higher ledges. This could come in handy. Dad, do you remember the plants Jabba talked about? We should find them. Maybe you should try
Alright, now that this cutscene's almost over, we're just gonna come right back out of this area the way we came in, using the staff. I like to avoid using the staff as much as possible because it's just worse for both movement and for attacking. It technically does more damage, but when you swing the staff, it makes tack move forward, which the club doesn't, so you kind of have less control when you're using this. And also, you can't roll when you have the staff. If you do an L jump, instead of rolling, you just do a normal jump. And when you do a normal jump, you jump like that. So I prefer to use the club as much as possible. It's mostly a preference thing, but it's what I find to be better. And the staff actually does not do more damage to these guys than the club. And because it makes you move forward, it messes up your spacing. So I'd actually recommend avoiding the staff when fighting plants. So again, just run up and hit them. I guess I'll show off right here that you can't actually kill these guys before they taunt. Their health just does not go down anymore. You have to run back, and then you can kill them. And that's the last plant of burial grounds.
Okay, that's all the plants.
So now
We should try somewhere else now.
we're going to roll over here to this warp pad and just warp to Tax Village. Because now we're going to go to the last plant level called Lower Tree Village. You're going to immediately get placed here and a Nurble's going to attack you, so just run away as fast as possible.
I know another place we can get more plants. It's in Tree Village. Follow me. I'll show you the way.
If you roll right as soon as you jump on that button, you actually roll under the door and it saves like a second. It's pretty cool. So now just switch to the staff here to make this jump. Some of the mechanics in this game are a bit wonky, and they're kind of weird to get used to at first. But with time, you'll eventually learn the quirks of it.
I don't know, you might already know this.
Like for example, sometimes the game doesn't like to switch your weapons out if you're coming out of a roll or if you're jumping or something. So you just kind of have to get used to when the game will let you do stuff and when it won't.
I'm not seeing any people.
Right when you get in Lower Tree Village here, you're going to want to lure this sheep over. You can actually pick up this sheep and then you can kind of, you have a lot more control over the sheep if you're carrying it, but it kind of loses like a second over optimal herding like this. So you can either choose to lure the sheep like that, or you can pick it up and carry it, whichever one you want to do. Carrying it is a lot easier, but it loses just like a tiny bit of time. So then just put the sheep on that, hit him, roll over here. And here we're actually going to get the acorns.
Everlasting acorns over there.
So you're going to pick up the acorns, and if you're fast enough, you can actually shoot that sheep before that cutscene starts.
Work as a blowgun. Try to use the acorns to hit things.
And then just roll under here.
Remember, if you want to switch between your club,
Switch to the staff, jump up here. You're going to actually want to shoot this monkey. Sometimes those Nurbles will actually jump down after you, and if they do, it's important to kill them, because otherwise if you just let those Nurbles run around here and you shoot this monkey, he'll actually throw his coconut at the Nurbles instead of the orangutan, and it'll end up wasting a bunch of time. So make sure that the Nurbles don't follow you down there, and if they do, just kill them, because you want this orangutan to be over here. And if you shoot the orangutan with your acorn as you're standing on his leaf, it'll actually pull the tree up immediately instead of waiting a while, so it saves a bit of time to do that. So when you're standing on a leaf, just shoot and then immediately switch to the club. So just hit B and then R, and you'll just immediately cancel out of it. It's kind of tricky to explain a lot of this stuff on the fly, so like I said before, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment on the video or send me a message or something. Because I know for a fact that I will not get everything in this guide. There's going to be some stuff that I'll miss, there's going to be stuff that's confusing. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Right there is a very good example of Nurbles stun locking you to death. There's not much you can really do about that, aside from just don't get hit by Nurbles. Because if you get hit by a Nurble, it will stun you, but you're not invincible during that stun, so you can actually get hit a second time and you'll just get stunned more, and then you can get hit a third time and it can just repeatedly happen until you die and there's nothing you can do about it. So just don't get hit by Nurbles. That's all I can say. Right here there's a plant up there, and normally you're supposed to run around the tree to get to it, but there's actually a trick called checkpoint abuse. The checkpoint for respawning on top of that actually sticks out a little bit right there, like right at the end of this black line here. There's a little bit where the checkpoint sticks out right there. So what you can do is if you run and jump at that the end of that black line, you'll... Okay, well I missed it there. You have to jump a little bit higher than the black line, I think. So jump right about there, and you'll respawn on top of this, and it saves like about 10 seconds. And then just another plant fight, you know. This one I'll try to show it like as optimally as possible, because the previous plant fights have been kind of lazy with them. You're going to want to stand far away. There. I should mention, if you don't know this by now, the plants will not taunt unless you're standing far enough away from them. You have to be standing like about this far away for the plants to taunt, about that far. If you're too close, then they just won't taunt and you won't be able to kill them. So just run away until they start taunting and then hit them. Now right here, it's important to climb up this rope and activate the warp point up here. Do not forget to do this because you're going to want to warp back to this level later on. So climb up here and just walk over this until it starts glowing like that, and then you can just run away, and that activates the warp point. Oh. Now we're going to go this way. Right here, there's a possible strat you can do that saves a second, like literally 1 second, but it's extremely difficult to do, so I'm not going to show it off. I do have a video of it on my channel somewhere, so if you really want to learn how to do that, go ahead and watch that, but it's not worth it unless you're really good at it. Now right here, you can just walk around this tree and be totally fine, but if you want to save a few seconds, you can actually jump on this mushroom here, and you can jump across to that platform. However, there's a bunch of invisible walls in the way, so if you just try to jump straight at it, you're going to get blocked like that, and you won't be able to make it. So you want to kind of try to curve your jump around the invisible walls, and it's still a pretty difficult jump to make. You'll kind of need to practice this. I still have trouble with it. But if you do the jump just right, you can actually slide along that and make it here, and that saves a few seconds. Now coming up is actually a trick that I will explain later on. I mean, I guess I can explain it now, but it's not going to really come back into effect until later on. The normal way for doing this, and the safe way for doing this, is just luring this orangutan over here.
Maybe this can help us.
And then he'll eat that or whatever. He'll go pull down the tree, and then you can get flung up to there and fight the plant. But there is a trick you can do that saves like 10 seconds called throw hovering. I really would not recommend doing it right here until you get much better at it. So like for a beginner, for anyone watching this learning the game, just do what I did before and lure the orangutan over there and go up there. But if you want to go, if you are feeling confident with throw hovering and you want to get up and you want to save a bit of time, then you're going to want to do a trick called item storage, where do an L jump to jump on top of this melon quickly. You can do this too, but that's slower. And then zoom in with your staff on the same frame that you hit the ground. It's kind of tricky to do. it is a frame perfect trick, so the timing is a bit precise. I'm messing it up right now, but there we go. So if you zoom in on the same frame that you hit the ground, you'll get a glitch called item storage, and I'll explain it more in detail later, but basically it lets me throw as many times as I want. And now if you actually jump and throw at the same time, you can actually kind of fly like that. So you can actually skip luring the orangutan by throw hovering like this. It's a very difficult trick to do, and I'll explain it more in detail later on. So for a beginner, just do that other method. But if you want to know how to do that, there you go. Saves like 10 seconds. I know that was probably an awful explanation, probably was very confusing. So again, if you have questions, please ask. But trust me, once you start running the game and once you learn how to do that trick, that part will make sense totally, don't worry. Just don't worry about that for now. So now you're just gonna jump over here, and that's all of Lower Tree Village, so now we'll be leaving. The reason I'm so hesitant to explain that throw hovering glitch there is because doing it there saves a very small amount of time, and it doesn't happen again until, like, that glitch does not come into play again until a lot later on. So it's not really worth doing when you're first starting out running this game. Now we're actually just gonna go to Jabba's hut, but it's not worth doing that trick when you're first learning the game, because it only saves a very small amount of time, and if you mess it up at all, you're already probably going to be losing time over just doing it the slow way, so, you know, just don't do it that way until you're much more confident with that trick. But now we're going to Jabba's hut to do the first pins and needles boss fight. There's a cutscene here, just mash through it. This fight is a bit tricky to explain. There is a pattern that you can follow to do this fight pretty quickly. It's pretty easy to mess up though, and if you mess up the pattern at all, it just completely skews everything, and you have to just do the fight like as best as you can. Essentially, there's like, I think 5 or 6 little platforms. You can see, like, in the middle there's like a little glowing thing on a platform behind pins and needles. There's like 5 of those in the room, and you want to pick those up and throw them at pins and needles, and you have to hit each of them 3 times, and then you'll win the fight. I'm gonna try to do my pattern that I usually do when fighting this boss, and just follow it as well as you can. So I run to the left here, pick this up, wait a bit, throw it at pins. If you throw it too early, pins will actually run to the right. You want them to run to the left here. Throw them at pins again. Throw it at needles. Throw it at pins. Throw it at needles. Throw it at needles. That's the pattern I usually do. So just try to follow that as much as you can. If you mess it up, it's no big deal. That fight's not too hard anyways, so that's just like the fastest way I've found that's consistent. But now we have the Spirit Rattle, which replaces the club, and now there's really no reason to use the staff ever except for jumping and like using this thing. This thing will actually one-shot Nurbles. But now we're actually going to start collecting some Yorbles, and as I'm sure you know, you need 100 Yorbles to beat this game. So we're going to be getting a lot of these. Actually, the Yorble route for this game has changed a lot over the course of me running this game. Like, the Yorble route is constantly changing, so by the time you're watching this video, the Yorble route has probably already changed. But this route will give you a good idea of at least a decent route. We're actually gonna jump up here again and get this tiki.
Nice.
And this tiki is gonna come into play pretty quickly.
We should find the shrine so we can summon the Jujus for help.
I'm just gonna jump back around here. And now right here, right floating up there is a mana power called Mana Magnet, which makes all these feathers just like come to you, which is really useful. The best way of getting this is kind of difficult. If you want, you can just run around here and use these ropes to swing and grab that. That's probably the easiest way. But if you want to know the fastest way, you're going to want to jump onto this bouncy platform here and then jump into it. Like right there, I missed it because this is not a very easy thing to do. But with practice, it should be fairly simple. Like, you should get the hang of it eventually. There you go.
Allows you to pick up mana without having to run right through it.
So just do something like that, and I'm sure you'll get it eventually. If you want, though, you can just swing on those ropes. That's a lot easier. Now, coming up is actually a trick that is a bit weird, and I still don't really know what causes it and why it happens. Make sure to open that door for later on. But I'm actually going to make a backup save here just so that I can show this a few times. Because it's very important that I explain exactly what I'm doing. Since if you do this trick slightly wrong, the game will crash. It's not too difficult once you know how to do it, though. Like, the game almost never crashes for me. It's very rare that it does now. But we're going to be placing that tiki we picked up earlier onto a shrine, and normally that would trigger a minute-long cutscene to play, but it's actually possible to skip that if you do a few very precise manipulations. So just ignore these nurbles, and you're actually going to want to... Here, I'm just going to kill these nurbles first, so that I can explain. So that nurble over there is very important. I should mention... when a nurble is going to attack you, I say a lot, I'm very good at talking. When a nurble is planning to attack you, it will either jump at you or it will start running at you. You want to make sure that this nurble starts running at you, because that way you can kind of manipulate where he's going to go. If he jumps at you, it's whatever, just wait till he starts running at you. And you're going to want to lure this nurble into a very specific spot. I'm just going to show it off right away here. So he's running. Jump about here, hit the nurble, place the tiki. And that instantly teleports you to right here. Now, I'm going to go back and kind of try to explain that. I'm not going to explain why that happens, because I honestly have no idea why it happens. But, I'll try to explain how to do it. I'm probably not going to show off the game crashing, because that would that would take too long. Because you have to like reset your console, and if the game crashes, you just reset the run. It's not worth continuing. Just kill these guys. You don't normally have to kill these guys. I'm just doing it so I can take my time here. So you want to make sure that this guy starts running at you. That time he jumped. So you want to stand right here. Get the nurble to be behind you, swing, and place the tiki, and you'll teleport. If you do that incorrectly, if you like hit the nurble in the wrong direction, or you wait too long to place the tiki, or you do something wrong, the game will crash. Well, the game will maybe crash. I'm not sure why it crashes, why it doesn't. But if you want to be sure that the game doesn't crash, do exactly what I just did, and you should be fine. So now we're actually going to run right back here and grab this sand board, so that we can enter Numad Dunes. And that's where I split for Dinky Juju. I should probably change the name of that split since we don't actually talk to Dinky Juju anymore. But anyways, this is Numad Dunes. This is kind of difficult. This is not an easy level. It's kind of hard to explain how to do this stuff too, but for this first area, I just like to do some tricks here to build up some combo meter. And then you're going to want to jump right at the end here. grab this, start grinding on here. The way you do the tricks don't really matter as long as you get enough boost power. Just kind of follow what I'm doing to the best of your abilities, and then you're going to want to boost and then jump right at the end of that platform. It's important you jump before you leave the platform, otherwise you'll miss that Yorble. Right here I just like to boost because it's faster than not boosting, but then it's important to build up some more combo again. You're going to just want to practice Numad Dunes a lot. It's pretty difficult at first. Right here I boost and then jump off the side of that ramp a little bit, otherwise you get too much height. Grab that Yorble, land here. Boost in this tunnel, jump at the end of that platform. Right here I just jump, you don't need to boost for this. And then make sure to slow down here so that you do not miss this, because this is Crazy Feet, and once you get Crazy Feet just immediately exit the level. Don't exit the game, exit the level. But the only reason we go to Numad Dunes is for that Juju power-up, and now, as you can see here, anytime I hold down the X button, I run faster now at the cost of 1 mana per second. That's important because the mana route is actually pretty tight for this game. There's a certain part where we end up with pretty much 0 mana. So it's important to not waste your mana. Probably even like for the first few runs you do, don't use Crazy Feet too much, because otherwise you will end up having not enough mana to do stuff later on. So just be careful with your mana usage. If you are at my skill level, if you are very good at the game, then you can go ahead and use Crazy Feet whenever you want, and you'll still end up with enough. But you don't want to just be sitting around burning Crazy Feet, because you do need the mana later on. So we're actually just going to run right into this warp pad. Go to the left 1, and you're going to warp to Lower Tree Village. This is why it's important to get the warp point previously in the run. We're going to go to Lower Tree Village to get some Yorbles. So yeah, there's none really right here. But once we get to the top of this tree, we're actually going to get to a pretty difficult spot where there's a bunch of Yorbles on some vines, and vine physics are kind of awful in this game. There's 3 Yorbles along these 2 vines, and the best way I've found is to jump on this vine without moving at all, so that you're just completely still, and then hold left, right, and jump, and then hold right, and then jump off. That's going to take a lot of practice to get good at, but as long as you make sure that you are not moving when you grab the vine, you should be able to do that easily. And then once again, just jump around this tree. Oh, I didn't jump that time. It's actually a lot easier to do it now because you have Crazy Feet, so you can jump further. So you can just do that. Now we're going to ignore this orangutan, ignore all this stuff. We're only here for Yorbles right now. Hit this Nurble nest, grab the Yorble. You're actually going to want to make sure to walk right around here and then over here, so that you activate the checkpoint for this area, because we're going to be jumping at this Yorble and then dying. And you want to activate the checkpoint so that you respawn right here, instead of all the way back there. So now, instead of leaving, we're going to jump up here, grab this one last Yorble, and then we're going to go to Upper Tree Village. And Upper Tree Village is where the return of that glitch called throw hovering happens. There is a lot of throw hovering in this level, so before you do runs, you are definitely going to want to practice this trick, because it saves a lot of time here. Because Upper Tree Village is all about puzzles, and with throw hovering you can pretty much skip all of the puzzles. So just run through here, grab a melon, and then we're going to run back this way. You can't roll when you're holding a melon, otherwise you'll drop it. So just use Crazy Feet when you're holding a melon to go fast. So what I like to do is put the melon down right about there. It doesn't really matter where you do this, I just like to do it here. And now, like I said earlier, you're going to want to L jump, and then zoom in on the frame that you hit the ground, and then unzoom, and you'll have this. I like to time that. I'm just going to do this again just to show it off. Some people might think it's a good idea to mash the button, but if you mash it, it's possible that you'll put it back down again, which you don't want to do. So I like to just figure out the timing, and just time it whenever you hit the ground, and then unzoom and you'll have it. That way you don't drop it again on accident. And now I'm going to explain how exactly to do the throw hovering.
Looks like this motor is attached to that.
Essentially what you want to do is hit A and B on the same time for every single jump, but that's not exactly enough. The exact way you do it is you have to hit A and B on the exact same frame and for only one frame. So you have to like stab A and B at exactly the same time. Because if you hold the buttons for like 2 or more frames, you won't be able to do it and it won't work. So you need to hit them both at the same time for only one frame for every single jump. And if you do it enough times in a row, you'll eventually be able to jump more. It is an extremely difficult trick at first, and it takes a lot of practice to get good at. But because I should mention, if you don't hit them at the same frame for only one frame at one point, it'll actually drop it, and you have to land on the ground again before you can continue. So you have to do it all in a row too, so it's very, very, very difficult to do. But if you get good enough at it, you can skip huge portions of this game. So the first place we're going to do it is to jump up to this platform above me there. One good thing about this jump is there's actually a sloped wall, and sloped walls are really helpful for doing throw hovering, because when you like slide down a sloped wall, you can see that tack kind of like jumps a couple times. Not there, but I think right here. I don't know, tack kind of like bumps into the wall as he falls down, and every time that happens, it actually lets you restart the throw hover. So even if you mess it up as you're going up this wall, you can actually still recover it. And so once you get up here, it's very difficult to do, I know, but you just have to practice it because it saves so much time throughout the run. You actually don't want that mana power back there. It's just a waste of mana. It's not really worth it. You can get it if you want, but I don't know why you'd want it. But now we're going to run back here and we're actually going to throw hover up to this Yorble. Oh. Just jump up here. There's a lot of throw hovering in this level, I'm just going to warn you. Throw hover up this wall. And like I said before, make sure you do not roll when you have item storage, because that will cause you to drop the item, and then you'll have to go and get item storage again, and it's not a good thing. So just don't roll, and also don't die, because that causes you to drop it too. Alright, so right here we want this orangutan to go to this tree. The orangutan thinks we have a melon right now, even though we don't. So just do that, just roll, and then he'll stop, and then get on the vine, or get on the tree, shoot him like that, and you're good. You can actually make it right here if you triple jump like that. You want to get onto this vine. Right here, just grab this and then die, because you want to warp back here.
I guess we need more practice.
Same thing again, grab this and die.
Careful, Tack. It's a long way down.
Because you can't grab that. Well, I mean, I think you're supposed to be swinging on the rope to grab that Yorble, but that takes too much time. It's a lot faster to just grab it and die. Right here. Shoot the staff at the sheep. Right here, make sure that you're not holding any direction once you grab that rope, because otherwise you'll start swinging a bunch. Oh, actually, that was bad. If you're holding forward when you grab this rope, I'll show it off. You start swinging right away, and you don't want to be swinging in that direction, you want to be swinging out that way. So what you need to do is instead like let go of forward before you grab the rope, and that'll normally make it so that the rope stops swinging, and then you just want to grab that and run over here. Making a route guide like this is kind of hard, making it all in like one take. And I'm hoping that sometime this summer I'll be able to make a much better route guide where it goes more in detail and it's like edited together and stuff. But right now I do not have the time for that kind of thing, so I just kind of have to make this temporary route guide. So apologies for it being not very good, I guess. It's the best I can do for right now. Alright, so right here, you can actually get item storage like that by just walking into the item too. But that's kind of harder. It really depends on personal preference. I like to do it that method. This room has a bunch of yorables and a bunch of puzzles in it, but we're just gonna skip all the puzzles by throw hovering. Can make that jump if you line it up properly. And that's that room. There's a lot of yorables there. It's supposed to take a lot longer than that. Now, once you get over here, it's important. It's more important than ever that you don't roll or die at this point, because if you drop the item storage now, it's going to take a long time to get it again, so just don't. Right here, if you're confident with your throw hovers, you can just throw hover up here, but if you aren't really, you can actually swing on this rope. You can see there's a yorble over there. We're actually not going to get that one because it actually takes too much time to get it if you just throw hover over there. But you can also just swing on this rope to get up there. It depends on how comfortable you are with throw hovering. The tiki's right there, but we're actually not going to get that tiki. Florida thinks we picked it up, but we really didn't. There's a sheep here. Do not drop the melon in order to hit the sheep, because if you want to hit the sheep, you have to get rid of your item storage. But even if you drop the melon here, it'll actually warp back to the last place it was at, which is way over there. And you don't want to do that, so just keep your item storage and actually throw over to the top of this door, and you'll end up grabbing the top of it, like that, and then just pull yourself up. This one's kind of weird. The game does not want you to be in that area, so some weird stuff will happen. Be careful that you do not pull yourself up if you're grabbing the ledge at the very corner, because I'm fairly certain that crashes the game, so just make sure that you're somewhere in the middle. And then come in here. There's the shrine. We're not going to use it though. Just throw hover over this fence. Just like that.
Wow, it's a blink.
And that was Upper Tree Village. So yeah, Upper Tree Village has a lot of throw hovering in it, so it's probably going to be pretty difficult until you get good at that.
You know, Mountaintop is home to lots of animals.
So Mountaintop, there's a lot of yorbles in here, but a lot of them are pretty separated out. Like there's a bunch of them over in that area way over there. But that takes too much time to go over there, so we're actually going to skip some of the yorbles in this level. You can see there's one up there. We're going to get that one in a bit. What you want to do is jump up here. These exploding nurbles can't hurt you when you're pulling yourself up from a ledge. So just make sure that they explode while you're pulling yourself up. And then take this rhino, grab this yorble, get back on the rhino. Actually, right here, When the rhino runs into this, Tak kind of gets flung into it and he like splats on it and like it takes a few seconds to recover. So if you time it properly and you jump off right when the rhino hits that thing, it'll actually skip that crashing animation. And it's kind of hard to do. So I don't know, but it's possible to do. It saves a couple seconds. Just jump in there, grab this, and we're actually gonna run right back out here. And right here is a very difficult jump to do. Normally when you're doing a triple jump, it's not a good idea to change your direction mid-jump, because that just causes you to lose all your momentum. Also, that Nurble is just kind of chilling over there. So it's normally not a good idea to change your direction mid-jump. However, if you change your direction after all of your jumps, you can adjust it a very small amount, as you can see there. And you won't lose your momentum by doing that. So if you do a triple jump like that around this corner, you can actually grab this ledge and get this Yorble over here. It's not the end of the world if you miss it and you fall down. What you can do is actually just run around here, jump on this tree, and then jump right back up. So don't worry about missing the jump. You can try again. But just curve the jump around here and grab that Yorble. And now we're gonna run over here and get this other Yorble. Don't get hit by these plants. These may look like the previous plant enemies, but they're actually a much tougher version that do half of your health when they hit you. So if you get hit twice by these guys, you're dead no matter what. So just avoid them. But you're gonna want to jump up here. Just ignore this ram. The rams are pretty dumb in this game. Grab this Yorble and then jump right back down here and kill this plant. And right in this seam, this is kind of reminiscent of Dry Rock, where we just walked into a corner and we clipped out of bounds. If you jump into this corner at a certain angle, you'll actually clip out of bounds again. It's a kind of precise angle, like that. And then you're standing out of bounds here. So what you want to do is just keep running forward. Don't walk off there. But you want to run under this, jump up here, and you're going to want to jump into this area right here, which is the loading zone for Mountaintop North. Now you're not supposed to be in this area yet. You're supposed to already have gotten 100 Yorbles in order to be at this area. But if you get into that loading zone like that, you can easily come in here, no problem. And the funny thing is there's actually 200 total Yorbles in this game, and some of them are in areas you can only get to after you have 100. And it's just for like completion's sake. But we can actually take advantage of that and grab some of these easy Yorbles along the way and save some time there. Man, I really should have gotten like a water bottle or something because my voice is already starting to like die. Right here is Mana Magnet, or no, it's a Summon Coconut Mana Power. And something interesting about these is if you pick them up while you're standing on the ground, a cutscene will activate and you'll be like, whoa, look, I got this thing. And it takes like 5 seconds. But if you roll into this, oh, I missed it. Essentially, if you grab these while you're in the air, it skips that animation. So if you roll into that, it actually skips the picking up animation. So now we can, like Flora said, we can summon a melon anytime, and we're actually going to immediately use that up here and just put it down. Switch back to Crazy Feet so you don't accidentally use it again, because it costs 50 mana to summon 1 melon, which is kind of a lot, so just be careful with that. You're going to get item storage again here. So just do that. And then we're going to actually want to throw hover over there. It's not the end of the world if you miss that jump. Just swim into this corner and just start throw hovering here. This is a pretty long throw hover, so this might take a bit of time at first. I'm still not very good at it. Just throw hover up here. Grab this last grab this last Yorble. Doing that actually skips this entire level. You're supposed to do a bunch of puzzles and stuff, but that's too much work. So now we're at the best boss fight in the game. Pins and needles dance thing. This is essentially a 2-minute long auto-scroller. There's no reason that you should fail this. It's very, very easy.
Just move to the beat and you should be fine. The trick is to touch the glowing stones. That will make the dance.
Like the timings are very, very lenient. It's not hard at all. There's nothing really to talk about.
Ready, set, go. Yeah, buddy.
It's very, very simple. Just hit the buttons whenever they're in the glowing area.
Those combo moves make you go a lot faster. Keep it up. Oh yeah, he's feeling it now. Nice combo move. That makes you go even faster. Solid.
Solid.
Man. Yes, another combo move. Check it.
Yeah, like I said, very, very simple. This takes like 2 minutes.
Sexy. Oh yeah.
And it always looks like it's really close at the end, but it's essentially scripted.
It's gotta hurt.
I mean, if you miss some of these inputs, then yeah, you're gonna fall behind and you'll probably end up losing, but just don't miss them and you'll be fine.
Right on, Tack. Okay, it's time to pick up the tempo, Tack. You're making it look easy.
Whoops. Yeah, I hit that one too early, so
Ooh, call him Mr. Combo.
I failed it.
That's what we need. More combos. Nice. Combo move. That makes you go even faster. Fire away.
Combo move makes you go even faster.
You're making it look easy. Ooh, call him Mr. Combo.
Flora just has a lot of one-liners as you're doing this.
That's what we need. More combos. Ooh, who's the man?
As you can see, I missed one input, and it ended up being extremely close. Like, if I would have missed 2, I probably would have lost. So just don't miss your inputs and you'll be fine. If you do miss a couple of them, though, you might lose. Alright, but that's our first moonstone. You need 3 of those to beat the game, and you're supposed to get them way at the end, but you can actually get them if you manage to clip inside of the areas, then you can actually get them early. And it's just more efficient to do that. Because you still have to get all the collectibles in this game, even though you can get the later collectibles earlier. Just because of the way the game's programmed. But it's more efficient to get them like along the way. And that's actually why you wanted to open that door a long time ago. Right there, so you can walk through it. Now, just gonna run over here, grab this Yorble. And these bouncy pads, you can actually double jump at any point after, so I can still double jump there. So just double jump down. Like I said previously, my movement is not going to be as optimal as possible in this guide. If you want to see what really good movement looks like, just watch the world record run, whatever that is. That probably has good movement. Now we're back in Dry Rock, though. We're just here to get some more Yorbles and also get the next moonstone eventually. So just run along here. We're actually going to make a slight detour because this little cave has opened up now. So what you want to do is try to jump like in the center of this hole. Because if you jump in the right spot, you'll land on that Juju power-up as you fall. It's not the end of the world if you miss it. You can just like jump at it again if you do miss it. Just grab this Yorble though. This cave area is kind of dark. Just do what you can. Once you know what the layout is, you don't really even have to see it. But then we're gonna jump up this way, jump around this wall, and grab this Yorble here. Now we're actually gonna clip inside of another level, There's a loading zone for dry rock caverns behind this wall, so what you want to do is grab the wall like that. All you really have to do is jump at the wall. And then pull yourself up and then spam A. And if you... I should mention, it's important to be looking perfectly parallel with the wall, I guess. Like exactly behind tack. And then just spam A and hold forward, and you should fall in this room. And then just walk between those two pillars. And this will put you in dry rock caverns. And Dry Rock Caverns is actually a very, very difficult level. The movement is very, very precise. It's very dark. It's not an easy level to do. So just follow my route as good as you can. This level is going to take a lot of practice. Like, you essentially just have to learn the layout of the level. You have to memorize the layout. Because it's very dark, so you can't really tell what's going on. And if you die at any point, you just get put at a checkpoint, and it's like, I don't know where I am. So, just learn the layout of the level, basically. There's probably like a faster route than I'm doing right now. I haven't really invested too much time in it, though. I mean, I've invested time in it, but I don't like this level either, so I haven't spent like hours and hours and hours trying to find the fastest possible route through here. I just use like a pretty simple and fast-ish route. There's bound to be a faster route is what I'm saying. But like, go ahead and use mine. Like, I'd recommend that you use this route, because it's the simplest one, I think. Right here's kind of a blind jump. You just want to land on this platform here. Like I've said, this level's not easy. You'll eventually get the hang of it though, I'm sure. One thing I should mention, when you have this light on you, you can't roll. If I try to roll right now, I just do this. So don't bother trying to roll. It's not gonna work.
The light is returning to its room. I'm glad we know it'll stay there in case we need to go back into that cave again.
Yeah. If you start dying a lot, I'm sure eventually you'll remember where the checkpoints are. There's technically 3 different cave areas in this level. I only go through 2 of them, because the only reason we're here is for Yorbles. That's it. If you complete all 3 of the cave areas, you get a mana power-up called Stunner, but that's not useful at all in the speedrun, so it's not worth getting. And there's like a really long cutscene once you get it, so it's just not worth it. So this is a completely blind jump. You just kind of have to know where it is. It's very nice to get through this level deathless, though, because then you don't have to worry about, alright, where did I respawn? Where do I go from here? Because it's very dark, so you can't just look around and go, oh, there's the next Yorble. No. You just gotta know. So we're gonna run down here and make sure to go to the left here, because there's another Yorble down in this little cave area. You're probably gonna forget that one. It's not exactly along the path. I have 2% health, not bad. Alright, so I died there, but I respawned right away at that point. It's actually kind of important for me to not die in this guide, because otherwise the continuity of this level will completely go away, and it'll be really hard to follow, so. Thankfully the place I died in there had a respawn point immediately beside it, so there was no problems there. So that's what caverns should look like. And then you immediately want to run to the right here and just leave the level. And now we're actually going to be going straight to Sun Temple, which is another endgame level which we can clip inside of. There's 3 of those endgame levels. Right here, just jump up to the left here. Whoops. Don't fail like I did. Jump to the left and then jump right back, just to avoid that ram to the right. And then you're going to want to run right into this wall again, like earlier in the run. And then turn to the left and come into this area. Right there is the gong that you're supposed to hit to open that door, but since we don't have the champion's amulet, it doesn't do anything, so don't worry about that. Just jump up here. You can kill this Nurgle if you want. And you're going to want to grab this pole. It doesn't really matter where you grab it, but just make sure that you're looking exactly behind Tack. This clip is really awkward, so it's going to take a bit of getting used to. But just make sure that you're facing directly behind Tack. Don't fall out like I did. Like, don't stand still. And then just immediately start jumping this direction until you clip into this wall. Camera kind of gets wonky here, but you just want to jump inside there. And now you're in Sun Temple. Too much talking. Now, Sun Temple is probably the hardest level in the game, aside from caverns. Just, you know, just do your best to follow what I'm doing. This level, you want to make sure that you have at least 50 mana at this level. You gotta kill those Nurgles to lower this platform. Just to make sure that you have at least 50 mana before you get to one of the later rooms here, because you're going to need to do a summon melon. It's not the end of the world if you don't have 50 mana. It'll just cost some extra time. Step on this button, open that door over there and run back. Oh, my head's itchy. Just do your best to make it through that part. It's not too hard, but you know. So now come over here. There's like a timer for a lot of these areas, but the timer is usually not even a concern. So you want to have 50 mana for this room. Actually, before I go in there, if you have slightly less than 50, there's actually 2 blue feathers over there you can get, and blue feathers are worth 10 mana. So if you need an extra 20, you can just go over and pick those up. Then you want to roll into this room, and this room, you gotta kill all the Nurgles, and then you activate a button. You have to kill a bunch more Nurgles, activate a button, kill a bunch more Nurgles, activate a button, and then you can leave. But if you have 50 mana, what you can do is kill these Nurgles one time. What happens once you like go through these waves of enemies is this door will open up. But if you have at least 50 mana, you can do a summon melon. Just put it down somewhere. Get item storage, and you can actually throw her up to this corner here. You can actually grab that ledge, and now, as you can see, we're out of bounds. Woo, spooky. Just hold forward once you clip into that, and you'll end up on the other side of that room. And you can feel free to roll and drop that item storage. You don't need it anymore. But now, just get these more Yorbles. These more Yorbles? Yeah, those are words. Now this platform is like a sun tile. If you stand on it, you take damage. It's, you know, mechanics. Here's a big room where you're just swinging on a bunch of ropes. You know, just do your best to get through here quickly. Like the rest of the game. Just do it quickly. Easy as that. Right here to the left is a Yorble. Don't forget that one. It's kind of hidden. This room, you're supposed to kill all 6 of these giant Nurgles in order to open the door. But what you can actually do is just jump up, grab that Yorble, grab one of these vase things. And normally these things, you like throw them on the sun tiles and they explode and do damage. Like that. But don't worry about that. Just grab that vase from over there. If I could, let me pick this one up. So just grab that one and run over here. And get more item storage. If I can actually do it. Come on. I'm good at this video game. There we go. And you're going to want to throw hover up to the top of this door. This throw hover is kind of difficult because it's a pretty long one. But you can just throw hover over that door and skip that room. Again, the same idea here. There's 2 giant nurbles you gotta do. You gotta kill. But if you throw hover over this door, and this door is actually a bit smaller, so it's a bit easier. Just throw hover over the door there, and you skip that room. Get this Yorble. Now this room has an interesting trick in it that you can attempt. I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, you can go for it if you want, but chances are you're probably not going to get it. This is a trick called the YOLO jump. We call it that because you only have one chance to do this. If you mess it up, you can't do it anymore. Well, you can, but it's really not worth going for multiple times because of how unlikely it is to get. So just do your best to throw hover over this gap. I made it there, I guess. It's actually extremely difficult to do because you throw hover over a completely empty pit like that. If you die, it's no big deal though. Just jump. You respawn here, so just jump on this button. Ignore that nurble. Jump over these guys, and if you jump with a staff and crazy feet, you can actually make that jump. And so you don't have to kill that nurble back there. Killing those giant nurbles like summons platforms that you can walk on, but you don't have to get all the platforms. Right here, same thing. You do actually need to kill these nurbles right here. What you can do though is pick this up, hold B to zoom in, and aim kind of right around here-ish. I might have missed, and that should get both of them. Yeah. If you do it right, it'll actually knock both of them off the platform. That time I was too slow though, and this guy walked to the center. So just wait for him to shoot the nurble. Hit him once, that'll kill him. And then that platform will rise up. There's more nurbles here. Whoops. Just jump like this though, and you're fine. That room is pretty simple. This room is pretty difficult. This is the hardest room in the game, in my opinion. Just do your best to kill all these 6 nurbles. You have to kill all 6 of them to activate, or to be able to leave the room. Just do your best using these vase things and attacking them. That guy's gonna fall off there. This room is pretty hectic. Just make sure you don't die. That's really my only advice. That should ignite. Yep. That should also ignite. Make sure you don't forget this Yorble. It's kind of easy to forget that one in like in the heat of the moment. Whoops. Yeah, don't grab ledges when you're holding those. This room is not easy. As simple as that, it's just not easy. So I'm just gonna hit this guy, and then I'll just run up and bop him once. There we go. Then this platform rises up and you can leave the level, or leave the area. That's the normal Sun Temple. Now it's time for the boss fight. This boss fight is very, very difficult. Not difficult, but it's hard to do this fight fast, because you really have to know what you're doing. There's a lot of really subtle, like, strategies that I use that are kind of hard to explain. Essentially, blues are probably the worst option. Yellows are, I'd say, second best. I guess let me put it this way. For you, Yellows are a good option. They're not the best option, but they're a good option because you can just shoot 4 of them. Reds are the best in my opinion because it like lets you get a meat shot, and you can do a ton of damage because it like shoots 3 at a time, so you can do a lot of damage like that. Greens are not the best because they're hard to aim, but there's some strategies you can do with them if you do get a green one. And blues are probably the worst because there's only one. Like, sure, it auto aims onto them, but there's only one of them. But for the enemies, you do not want the enemies to get yellows because you can't hit them when they're locked onto you because they'll be constantly behind you. So you do not want to get stuck with them having a yellow and them constantly shooting you. Oops, I missed all 3 shots there. Like this, like you just have to kind of wait for them to shoot you. There you go, I got a meat shot on them. The green one, you know, just kind of get behind them and shoot them. You can actually, there's another thing you can do with greens. If like the enemy is locked onto you, you can actually run into a wall and just hit the wall and it'll actually explode you and the enemy. So there's some stuff you can kind of do. Tried to get it multiple times there, but it didn't really work. If the enemy is green, just run into the wall like this and they'll just hit themselves up. The game prevented me from doing that, but oh god. Yeah, see, greens are really hard to aim because they arc. So, just get a blue there. Now you have to fight both of them at the same time. There's Tack in the background, just chilling. You can actually get pins and needles to hit each other, which is helpful. If they're both on you and they both have like a yellow or something, they'll hit each other.
One down, one to go.
I've gotten a lot of greens this time. That's not really too lucky. I've gotten pretty unlucky with the colors. Alright, so just run into a wall. Oh no, he had a red, so. Like the strategies for this fight are really subtle and pretty complicated. I'm sure once you start running it, you'll come up with your own strategies too. Alright, I can actually kill him right here by having him just hit himself. What? He just like ran over me. There we go.
Now it's moonstone time.
I probably could have been faster, but whatever. Actually, if you jump off the Phoenix and you hold forward, you'll actually do that kind of a slide.
Pins and needles are
And then sometimes you'll actually just go flying off the screen like that. But yeah, that was the Sun Temple. Pretty difficult, weird. But once you leave, just jump this way. Again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. Please, please ask. And I will not be able to cover everything in this guide, just because it's all in one take, and it's hard to cover everything as I'm doing it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And if you want to just see like all of these strategies in action in an actual run, just like go look up the world record video or something. Because it's kind of hard for me to explain everything and to do it as fast as possible. Trying to do both wouldn't really work. So yeah, we're just going through the rest of Dry Rock now, getting all the rest of the Orbles. Jump on this rhino, and break this gate. This area, you're supposed to like be riding an emu through it to get all the different Yorbles up above me. But the emu is really hard to control, and it takes a bit to get it. You have to like go to that area over there to the left. So instead, we're just gonna do it without the emu. And if you do some like good triple jumping, you can make these jumps. So just practice your triple jumping, and you'll be fine. The emu like jumps further, so that's why these jumps are pretty spaced out. But the emu is so hard to control. Right there's the fire acorns power up. It doesn't really. Oh god. Don't miss that. Guess we get to do this part again. Yeah, don't miss that Yorble there. The fire acorns power up though is not helpful. It doesn't do anything. All it does is makes the acorns that you shoot hurt enemies, but that's not really useful in a speedrun. There might be some uses for it that I haven't looked into yet, because I've never really experimented anything with it. So, you know. Okay. Don't miss that.
We should try somewhere else now.
So yeah, now just warp back to the beginning. And there you go. Now we're actually going to be going to Chicken Island, but only for like a minute. Ugh. The Yorbles in Chicken Island are very, very, very spread apart. So it is not worth going there just to get a bunch of Yorbles, because they're all over the place. It would take way too much time to get the Yorbles there. It would not be worth it. Don't do a triple jump off of this, because for some reason whenever you do, you can't triple jump and you just fall off, so. But yeah, just go over here to Chicken Island.
Chicken Island is home to a people that worship chickens.
So we're gonna come here and get 2 Yorbles and then warp back out. The main reason we're actually here isn't for the Yorbles. It's actually for the warp point. But because there's a couple of Yorbles along the way, we just get them. Just get those 2, and then we're gonna head over to the warp point. There's another Yorble down there, but it actually takes a really long time to get back up from down there, so it's not worth it. Those stairs are a little weird. But yeah, just immediately warp back to Tax Village. And that's the split. That's a pretty short split. Honestly, probably don't even need it, except that the next area is kind of a long split, so. Actually, wait, no. You're going to immediately want to warp back to Burial Grounds here. So as soon as you load into Tax Village there, just hold forward and then warp. Because next is one of the best levels in this game. Actually, in order to get to this level, you're supposed to put a tiki on there, and that opens up this pathway, which is blocked right now. But instead of doing that, we're in doubt right now, so we're going to take our stick out and clip into this wall, and that puts us right here, and then just jump over here and go past the wall. And now we're in Mummy Tombs, the greatest level in this whole game. I say that with a lot of sarcasm because this is just a ton of escort missions. Not a fun level, I'll admit. Just go over here to activate this checkpoint, or this trigger, I mean.
We need to get the mummies out of their tombs and bring them to the ceremonial tomb. Look, the door's open on that tomb. Let's start there.
Alright. Time to get all 4 of these mummies. Trust me, I've put a lot of time and effort into trying to figure out how to skip this level. But it's not possible, so we just have to deal with it. Thankfully, there are some interesting strats in each of these different tombs, so it's not totally awful. Like, as the runner, there's a lot of stuff you have to pay attention to, so it's not boring necessarily. It's just like, please let this level be done soon. It's not fun, but it's not boring. Just make sure to get these herbals along the way, because I mean, you may as well. So go and get these mummies. The mummies will run towards you as long as you're far enough away from them. I mean, these stupid bat nurbles are probably my least favorite thing in this whole game. If the mummy gets knocked down, you just kind of have to wait. You can push you can try to push the mummy places. Oh my god. If the mummy gets hit by anything, even a nurble, it will fall over. You can try to push the mummy though. The hitbox is really slippery though. The mummy will normally just walk to you unless you get far away from it, then it'll start running. So what you want to do is just have the mummy run onto this platform thing. Oh, whoops. I didn't do that right. It doesn't really matter what side the mummy's on. What just happened? Something exploded, I think. Anyways, just run over here. This part, just kind of try to get this mummy to walk across these platforms. You should almost always be able to get it, no matter what cycle those platforms are on. Right here is actually a really difficult jump. What you want to do is, you're going to make the mummy walk over thin air, basically. So you want to stand in this little corner here, wait for the mummy to show up, and then jump right and left, and the mummy should walk right over that. I'm actually going to try to show it one more time. Just have the mummy kill itself. If you don't do this jump exactly right, the mummy won't make it over the gap and it'll fall and you'll have to do it over again. And it wastes a good amount of time, so it's good to practice this. So the mummy run towards you, stand right here. Oh, that was way too early. See? If you don't do the timing right, that will happen. This is something I still struggle with a little bit. Mostly because I didn't really figure out exactly how to do it until recently. But just stand here, wait for the mummy to show up, and then jump right and left. And even sometimes then it won't work. If you want to, you can just do this the intended way and bring the mummy onto this platform and like knock it out and, you know, oh god. Alright, I'm just gonna try to get out of this area now.
Okay, let's go back and try again.
You can do this the normal way and it loses a bit of time, but this way is a bit faster. Right, left, like that. And then just bring the mummy back to that center room over there. You kind of have to constantly be aware of where the mummy is at all times, so you can't just like run straight into where you need to go, because the mummy might get stuck on something or might get hit by something, so you have to be constantly aware that the mummy is going to run in a straight line directly towards you. The mummy does not have very good AI. If there's a wall in the way, it'll just run into the wall. So you have to make sure that there's like a safe, open path between you and the mummy at all times. But that was 1/4 of this level. This tomb has a bunch of lava everywhere. It's a pretty spooky tomb. Get this Yorble.
Take the stick out.
Just dodge that Nurble, it's fine. Thankfully these tombs aren't like too long. I don't know. You gotta find some stuff that's good with this level. Just try to make sure this Nurble doesn't land on the platform like that. If the mummy is on or if the Nurble is on this seesaw when you step on it, the giant Nurble will also come towards you. It'll also fly up here, and that's not exactly ideal because you don't want that to be hitting the Nurble constantly. One thing you can do is every time the mummy stops being on fire, every time like it leaves a fire platform, it stops to pad itself out. Also, grab this Yorble, yeah, words. Get that Yorble, don't forget that one. I'll go back to explaining what I was explaining a bit, but first you gotta... It's important to do what I just did there, because when you're too far away from the mummy, it'll actually just stop, its AI will freeze. So you need to make sure that you're not too far away from it at any given point. But the mummy stops and pats himself out like that, so you can actually push him around while he's doing that to save a little bit of time. And one interesting thing is if you push the mummy onto another fire platform like this, the mummy will instantly start moving again. So if you're good enough, you can actually jump behind a mummy like that, push him on there again, and he'll immediately start running. But be careful though, because if you push the mummy into the lava, it'll die and you have to redo the level, or redo this section again. I'm just gonna play that part safe. So yeah, that was the second tomb. Not too bad. Alright. But yeah, especially in this like hedge maze part, you gotta make sure that the mummy's always got an open space to run to. Like I can't just immediately run to the left here, I have to wait for the mummy to get in. I like to jump when the mummy's about to run on there, because then you can like slide off the head and move like a couple feet forward. Oh wait, that was a split, by the way. I like to divide mummy tombs into 2 splits because it's just so long. So here's the third tomb. This one's all about darts. If I could not get hit by Nurbles. Right over here in this room is a Yorble. And another Yorble over here. I should mention, you don't really have to worry about your mana anymore after Sun Temple, because you'll be getting enough to make up for it, so you just go ahead and use Crazy Feet as much as you want now. For the rest of the game, pretty much. Alright, so now we're getting the next mummy, words. Once again, just lure it onto here. You're actually going to want to push the mummy to the side here, because if the mummy walks along that middle platform, it'll constantly be getting hit by darts and it'll be slower. So you actually kind of want to push it over to that side there, and so you can skip that little section. The mummy actually got knocked out by this Nurble, which is a shame if it happens, but you know. So just lure it over here. Mummy doesn't really care if it gets hit by darts, it just like stops for a second. Just got darts sticking out of it, no big deal. One thing to note, every time the mummy gets hit by a dart, it'll actually like recalculate how far away it is from you. So if you're standing too close to it, when it gets hit by a dart, it'll actually start walking again. So you kind of want to make sure to stay a bit far away from it during this part. You also got to make sure that the mummy does not walk over a gap, though, because the mummy will just walk straight over a gap if you lure it over one. So be careful about that. This Nurble's just running after me. This Nurble's my new mummy. Alright, Nurble got bored. Try to make sure the mummy doesn't get hit by the coconuts. Alright, so that was the third mummy. Now it's finally time for the last two. We're almost done with this level. Excuse me. My throat is dry as heck right now. So this fourth mummy has some interesting mechanics, which I guess I'll get to later, but basically this mummy, every time it gets hit, its head falls off, and then instead of following instead of following you, the mummy will follow its head, which is just like an item that you can pick up. So right here you actually want to jump on that and then immediately walk off of it, because that gives you a trick called super jump, which it basically stores the fact that, because when you jump off of a bouncy pad you jump really high, and if you can manage to jump on a bouncy pad and then walk off without leaving the ground, you can actually store that effect. You can't just walk off of it normally though, there's like a lip on it. So you have to kind of jump on it like this and then walk off. But you can actually use that to jump over here. I didn't get it actually. I like flew off of the ground for like a millisecond. I think that might have happened again. Yeah. It's a pretty difficult jump. If you don't want to do this, you can actually just run around the edge there and jump over there. It's no big deal. This only saves like a few seconds, so if you don't get it right away, it's really not worth it. But I'll show it off anyways because it's cool. If I could manage to get the trick, that is. It's hard to tell if you've gotten it or not. Okay, I think I got it now. There we go. That only saves like 5 seconds. It's not really worth it if you don't get it right away. But anyways, jump back up there, open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. Just roll over here and get this Yorvel just by swinging on the ropes. Kind of ignore those Nurbles, they don't really matter. Alright, so what you can do here... Whoops. There we go. Once the mummy's over here, you want to hit him right away and pick up his head. Whoops. And then you're going to want to run over here, put the head right under this like last lit up block that you can see. Put it right under there. Normally you're supposed to do a bunch of puzzles in this room, like raising these, having the mummy run up around this. But if you put the head in that exact spot, and you stand right behind the mummy, like facing the head, and walk forward, the mummy will pop on top of your head. This is kind of hard to do, but... And then once he's on your head, just jump and hold forward. Sometimes he'll slide off, sometimes he won't. If he slides off here, just try to figure out where he is in the darkness, and then just kind of pop him up on your head again. If he slides off here, it's not the end of the world. It's kind of hard to tell where he is because of how dark it is. So just kind of do your best to pop him up on top of this platform. There we go. Now he's up here. And that skipped the whole room. And then here, you're gonna it will auto aim, throwing the head will auto aim over to that little spot over there. So the mummy will run onto that, and then you just want to press this button to raise that up. It's pretty simple. Now you can kind of want to go a little bit slow here so that the mummy has time to catch up. It doesn't really have to be right behind you though. You want to make sure you can get in here before that door closes. Put the head down there, and then jump up here
Okay, that's all
and get that Yorble.
here. We should try somewhere else now.
You kind of want to go slow for that, but you also don't want to go too slow, otherwise the door closes on you. You just want to make sure the mummy doesn't get stuck. He doesn't want to get left behind. And now we're just going to bring the head over to the center area. And Mummy Tombs will finally be over. What you can do is actually throw the head onto the button and then stand over here. And then when you run to it, and it'll actually automatically put you inside of the trigger for Spirit World. We did it! We made it out of Mummy Tombs! Now the run can finally be fun again.
I've heard of this place.
Now Spirit World's actually a bit confusing too. It's kind of like caverns in that it's hard to tell where you are, but instead of darkness there's fog everywhere. Just kind of follow my route and you'll be fine.
It's a spirit key. If we follow it, it might help us on our journey.
Oops. Break that. The layout for this level, though, is a lot easier to memorize than the layout for caverns.
So wait, this spirit vent is active now. Jump in and see what happens.
Just gotta run over to hit this vase. Alright, now, for this area, be very careful because this Yorble over here, this Yorble is forgotten so many times by so many people. Like, I used to forget it all the time, new runners always forget it. Make sure that you run down here and pick this Yorble up. It's very hidden and very out of the way, but make sure to not forget that. Because if you do forget it, it's very difficult to come back and get it. You pretty much have to go through the entire level again. So do not forget that Yorble. Very important. The reason I stress that so much is because that Yorble is, like, you can't see that Yorble along the way. You just have to know that it's there, and so if you're not really paying attention, chances are you're going to forget it. Also, this rock does not have collision at all. And there's actually... let me... excuse me. If you are to walk between those two torches, a cutscene will activate. So what you can actually do is just jump down here, and it'll skip that cutscene. It's pretty neat. Just pull yourself up as that Nurble's exploding, prevent yourself from getting hit by it. And then run back this way. Right over there is where that cutscene is activated. Don't go over there. Just break that. Again, if you just want to see a like completely straight run through this level, go search up the world record or something. So that way you won't like get confused by me stopping to explain things. You're gonna want to jump on that thing and now get this balloon. Bring it over here, because you need 3 balloons over here, because of that cutscene we skipped. That cutscene explains what we're doing here, but we skipped it, so... Jump in there. Now this orangutan, you're gonna want to shoot the orangutan to guarantee that it will pull the tree down in time. Otherwise, chances are it will not. You do not want that orangutan to be just kind of sitting about doing nothing, because otherwise you're going to have to redo it over again. But get that balloon and bring it over here.
You only need 1 more balloon.
This balloon's over in this direction. I should mention, when you're doing a roll, you actually don't need to be holding crazy feet during the roll. It doesn't actually increase the speed at all. It just helps like in between the rolls. You don't really need to worry about that. It like saves... It helps save a small amount of mana throughout the run, so don't really worry about it. Make sure you don't get hit by that explosive Nurble, because if you do, you'll drop the balloon. So you might end up like... You'd have to, if you get hit by him, you'll have to do that all over again.
Remember, he said he would help you if you got him the balloons.
So just don't.
Ooh, nice job, little dude. Here's a help I promise.
Once you get all the balloons, he raises these platforms. Just jump up these like normal. Now this area might be a bit confusing, but as long as you jump up here, jump onto this second hill, jump to this corner of this polygon right here, zoom in and you can just barely make out this vase over there. Shoot that. And then grab this Yorble. Just ignore that guy. Run over, hit this vase. And then as quick as you can, jump down here, grab this. And make it over here. While this is happening, all these little things are floating towards this. And if you go fast enough, you'll make it in time to get in there. There's a ram here, you can just jump over the ram. Like, the rams are not very smart. Hit that. Run immediately back this way between these two rocks. And then you're going to want to jump around this Nurble. Jump up here. Jump back over the Nurble. Keep to the right here. Go in between these two rocks. And then get here. I'm going to try to do my best to like explain where you should be looking during the run. Because I know that this level can be a bit confusing if you don't have it memorized. So go around this rock and drop down right here. And there's a vase right there that you want to hit. I hit it like as I'm falling just to save a bit of time. Go to the second to last platform, jump back up. Go in between those two, jump up here, curve around this rock, follow this path over to this Yorble. Go to the left, get this vase, come back. Jump back around here. You can actually keep going along this path. And then there's a Yorble down here, and this is actually the last Yorble. That's all 100.
We should try somewhere else now.
Now there's a rhino there, but you don't need it. You can actually just jump over this wall with the staff. And then around that. And then here is like a giant arena fight with these Nurbles. Whoops.
Okay, if you can take care of these Nurbles, I bet we can reach Lock Speed.
These vases will sometimes have things in them that help you beat the fight quicker. What you should really just be focusing on though is like killing these guys as efficiently as possible. Don't worry too much about the vases. Actually, that time I got lucky. That green Nurble is the best because it turns the giant Nurbles into a little Nurble, which you can then easily kill.
Nice.
Go over here.
Look out!
That's okay. That's good. That's not perfect, but that's good.
Skull Spirit attacked
That gets rid of all the armor, so you can kill this guy in one shot now. Alright, take care of the last few Nurbles, and you're good. Now you just get to sit here and wait. Then a cutscene will play. And for this part, it's pretty easy to slide off of these platforms, so what I like to do, switch to the staff, just hold forward, hold crazy feet, and just run. Well, I guess you have to re-hit crazy feet every time. And just jump at the end of every platform and spam A. And you should get up there no problem. Sometimes like slip off of the edges for some reason, if you don't do that.
I'm gonna take you back to Jabba, and he's gonna put you back in your body.
Yeah, but first I got this terrible itch. Can you scratch my head?
We don't have time.
Come on, I can't reach. Oh, that's good. A little lower. Lower. Oh, that's good. Oh, little more. Little more.
Yeah, this is a great cutscene.
Gotta go.
Who's making all that racket in here? So, it's to bulbous errand boy and the great warrior of legend, Mr. Balloonhead. You'll never find your way out of here.
So this is Locke's spirit trapped in a balloon, if you didn't know. Because along with getting the 100 Yorbles, you also need to get Locke's spirit to access the next area of the game. This maze here is actually pretty hard to do if you do it normally, but if you jump over this platform and then do a triple jump while holding crazy feet, you can actually glide, and you can pretty much skip the entire maze. You just end up landing on these little bushes over here. And even though there's spikes on them, you can actually just walk on top of it. So just run along these spiked hedges and just jump over to here. And that's the rest of Spirit World.
Enough Yorbles and lock Spirit. We should get these back to Jabba as quickly as possible.
Alright, so now you have to bring both the 100 Yorbles and Lock Spirit to Jabba, but thankfully, when you finish Spirit World, it actually puts you right outside of Jabba's hut. So you can just hold up and left, and you just immediately do that. Make sure to don't forget that, though, because if you forget that, you'll be sorry later on. Because you won't be able to access the next level, so don't forget to do that.
We need the moonstone.
Wow.
So now you have the Champion's Amulet, which it essentially gives you the Crazy Feet effect, as long as you're at full health without taking up any mana.
Special. It has
So this is really nice for going fast.
When you're at full health, it'll cause you to run faster and jump higher and farther.
So yeah, it's just the same speed as Crazy Feet, so like using Crazy Feet during this doesn't change anything. It doesn't make it twice as fast or something. So don't bother with Crazy Feet when you have this effect. It's not the end of the world if you get hit. Just start using Crazy Feet.
Take the stick out.
But we're actually going to want to warp to Chicken Island, so just go here, hold left, and hit A. If you accidentally activate the warp point in Burial Grounds, or in Spirit World, you'll have to hit left twice there. But that's not too big of a deal. That's the thing you're supposed to hit, but what you can actually do is just walk up to the doors and you'll enter the level anyways. For some reason, the trigger for entering that level is slightly outside of the doors, so you don't actually need to open them. And now we're in Chicken Temple.
Remember this place?
This level was probably awful for anyone doing a casual playthrough of this game,
Is at the top of the
but the speedrun route thankfully skips almost all of it, so it skips all the hard stuff. You still have to do the first 3 quote-unquote puzzles, though. Oh, okay. I failed that, so now I get to use Crazy Feet. Oh my god, I almost did it again. Don't die there. Just get the egg and bring it back to the center. This first puzzle is like extremely basic. There's not much of a puzzle to it.
It looks like you need to find a key. I wonder what that would look like in this place.
Bring it right there. Now this next part, there's actually an invisible wall all the way around that, so even though it looks like you can get in there, you actually can't. And you get kind of stuck in here, and you clip out and die, I guess. But going that way is not good, but what you can actually do is you can actually curve your jump around the invisible wall and make it like that. That's pretty easy. Saves a good amount of time. Once again, get this egg. This time there's chickens, and chickens don't like you when you're holding an egg. Oh god. Yeah, don't get hit by the chicken. I was just about to say it's really easy to avoid them, so you don't even have to worry, but then of course I just run straight into one. But yeah, you don't really need to worry about them too much. These guards are also completely stupid. They're supposed to like attack you, but like they're completely blind, I guess. They're basically blind. Right here, make sure to line this jump up properly, because if you grab that ledge, you'll break the egg and you have to go back and get it. So make sure you don't grab the ledge. Excuse me. Oh wait, no. You gotta go directly behind you. Do the same thing again, jump around the wall. This time there's sort of a puzzle to it, but we can actually just skip doing the puzzle by jumping up here, and then when you go and stand under that egg dropping thing, you're gonna want to zoom in on the staff, and that'll automatically give you item storage. this chicken, you actually don't want the chicken to be right there. I don't know why the chicken's right there. Okay, so then go under here, zoom in, and you have item storage. Easy as that. That lets you actually climb this rope without dropping the egg, which is very nice. That means you don't have to do the puzzle. You can also grab this ledge without dropping the egg. It's very nice. Because technically we're not actually holding the egg, even though the game thinks we are. And so now, you can just do this. Put the egg there. And that's actually all of Chicken Temple we have to do. There's normally 4 more puzzles. Excuse me. But if you do Summon Melon, plop that down, switch back, get item storage. Normally once you get all 4 of these next eggs, okay, let me focus here. There we go. Once you get all 4 of these next eggs, this like center thing lowers down and you can go and walk on it. But if you get item storage, you can actually throw a hover up on top of it. If you're good enough at this video game, which I clearly am not. And you can throw a hover above it, and you can activate this. And now you're on the boss fight. And this boss fight is very difficult to do quickly. I'm going to show off trying to do it quickly.
Get rid of them so we can get the moonstone.
What we want to do is get rid of these chickens as fast as possible, because the chickens do not like it when you're holding the eggs. I'm doing an awful job at this, so I'm probably not going to be able to get the quick cycle. Get off of your chicken. You want to get these eggs off of there as fast as possible. I've probably messed this up already. Okay, no.
What do you think of that, huh?
This probably won't make too much sense right away, just because this fight is a bit hard to explain. But it's possible to 2-cycle this if you go fast. Alright, where is this one? It's right here.
Hey, Tech, look up there.
Basically, you gotta hit these guys 4 times. If you get unlucky with where these chickens end up flying to, like that. You want to make sure that the chickens do not bother you, because the chickens will hit you and they will knock the egg out of your hand. Oh god, that's in an awful spot. This is not an easy fight to do fast. Alright, thankfully I got that though. And then you can just jump up there, because that's where the moonstone's gonna spawn. And if you jump up there fast enough, you can actually skip the cutscene of picking it up. I don't know if I did that or not. No. Oh, I did. Okay. Nice.
Moonstone. Pins and needles are no match for you.
Normally there's a cutscene that's like, whoa, there's a moonstone there, but if you're already standing there, then it'll just skip that cutscene. So yeah, that was the boss fight. I probably didn't explain it very well, and so probably still a bit confusing, but just do your best on that fight. That's all I can really say. Now we're going to work back to Tech's Village and go to the final boss fight. It's not the end of the world if you don't do that fight as fast as possible. Like, chances are, when you're doing that fight, you're probably not going to get the 2-cycle kill like I just did. It's probably going to take you 3 or 4 cycles, which is not the end of the world. Just make sure that anytime Pins is about to throw his exploding eggs, I guess, just make sure that you're standing over one of the like feathery platforms outside of the arena, and you'll be fine. That way you can actually use them and they don't explode. Alright, so just spam A there to skip a cutscene, and this will automatically put us at the final boss fight.
Tech, you know how I've been telling you.
Now this fight's a bit interesting.
Well, I don't have any.
Essentially there's 3 different stages, and on each stage you have to destroy all the plants. And if you die at any point, you have to do the entire fight over again. So dying here is not recommended.
You are no champion. You simply do not possess the power.
Bring it on, old man.
This first stage though is pretty simple. Just run around, hit all these plants. I'm gonna use Summon Melon here and just kind of hold on to it. The next section is a bit tricky. Normally you're supposed to shoot all the plants with your staff because they like go flying away like this. But you can actually use item storage here. Get item storage, as long as you do it fast enough. If this takes you too long, it's not really worth doing this, because these Nerb will start attacking you and it's not really good. Wait. Okay. Yeah, if you're bad at this, it probably isn't a good idea to try to do it. But once you get item storage though, you can actually throw hover up above this, and you can just walk along the top of this as long as you're jumping over the spikes, or jumping onto the spikes. Normally you have to do this part and you're like a rhino and you're running through this and it's really difficult, so like the controls on the rhino are not very good. But anyways, jump over here. That plant, this one you have to wait for Tlaylock to like attack you with his magical thing, and that gets rid of the shields on the plants. If you're not fast enough, the thing's just gonna miss, and so you have to wait again. Once you get all the plants though, the fight's pretty much over.
Fantastic! Now it should be a piece of cake to destroy that.
Now Tlaylock turns her into an orangutan for some reason.
Strange. Come over here, Jack. I have an
You can jump onto this tree. You can't actually do this thing, it just doesn't work, so you have to wait. And Flora thinks it's a good idea to shoot you into the giant plant, I guess. Right as soon as you land here, just spam B, look for Tlaylock. Tlaylock's gonna like teleport somewhere. Pick up Tlaylock as a sheep, and then bring him to Flora, and then the time stops right when it says objective completed, right when Flora picks up Tlaylock, so right now. So that's the run. If anything was confusing at all, if you have any questions, please, 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 please ask. Ask your questions, post a comment, send me a message, whatever, just if you have any questions at all, please, please ask. Because I know that I did not explain everything to the fullest extent. There's probably some stuff that's still confusing. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. And, as I've been saying, if you want to see just a straight run through of what it actually looks like when you're doing a run, just go look up the world record or something, because it might be a bit confusing when you're watching this, because I had to do it all in one take, so I can't really do everything fast and explain it all at the same time, so I just went and did stuff slowly and explained it. So if you want to see what it all looks like in a continuous run through, just go look up the world record. But yeah, that's the TAC Any Percent guide. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that you all decide to run this game because it's fun. Yeah. So, yeah. That's the end, woo.